Tailor-made man.
Dear.
Terence Taylor.
Great name.
Yeah, really good. And Young Pistol Tracy. That's good. Versus Flying Brian and Marcus Alexander Bagwell. This match was originally scheduled as Brian Pillman and the Patriots against the Diamond Stud and the Young Pistols. The Young Pistol Steve, he got injured.
Right.
And then the Diamond Stud, who is better known as Scott Hall, he didn't feel like he was going to be wanted around WCW very much longer. And as the power began changing and they began getting new people in and Dusty Rhodes looked like he was on the ropes, Scott Hall began thinking, I don't think I'm long for this company.
Right.
I think he probably thought I'm not a very good wrestler and I haven't got a gimmick.
Yeah.
And so he put out feelers to WWE.
Right.
And he has left WCW by this point and he will re-emerge. He'll emerge later in the year as Razor Ramon.
Nice.
Yeah, but we're talking about him. He's not in this. It's a bit annoying.
His friend is.
They obviously didn't change the autocue after they changed this match.
Right.
Because they, a bit later on, Eric Bischoff turns to Brian Pillman during an interview and he just goes, we've just seen you in 6-man action. No, that was the old card that wasn't supposed to be there. This match, again, better than it should have been. This is the allure of the $5,000. Tracy Smothers comes out. He is, if you're a tag team wrestler and you're in a match without your tag team partner, but you've still got your recognisable tag team clothes, you're fucked. You are fucked. It just says...
We've not bothered.
Yeah, something's gone wrong. This isn't an actual star. He could be a star, but the other one's not here, and so he's not a star. He's just player B. It's a bit heartbreaking. Smothers, you really see here, and it's interesting about Tracy Smothers as far as when we're recording, is Tracy Smothers died probably
Quite
2 weeks
recently,
ago. He announced on his Facebook page in December of 2019 that he was diagnosed with lymphoma. That November. So it was pretty much a year since his diagnosis. He was aged 58. Now, a lot of wrestlers paid tribute to Tracy Smothers. He was one of those guys, he was a journeyman. He was around, he had stints in WWF as a character called Freddie Joe Floyd, who was a sort of enhancement talent. He was never, ever really the main event. But what he was just this guy who went for so long and was so sort of entertaining and really obviously so liked by generations of wrestlers that when he died, the outpouring was huge in a way that you don't see for a lot of wrestlers. It was just all positive. A lot of the things that came out of the stories sort of hint that he was not very reliable. He was a bit of a sort of big overgrown kid and he wasn't good with money. those sort of three things. And all three of those things are quite likeable in a person.
I mean, they can all be applied to me.
You begin to see as well here, what's funny is he's come out of the Young Pistols where he's very much a white meat baby face. And he's beginning to, in this match, show some elements of Tracy Smothers that he'd have for the rest of his career that you've never really seen before. And part of it is he's got these flappy hands, and whenever nothing's going on,
he's flapping them around.
He flaps them around, yeah. And you watch it and you go, that looks shit. And then you go, no, it's an acquired taste. I don't look at it and think that looks good. I look at it and I go, that's what Tracy Smothers does.
Yeah.
And weirdly, to just sort of go, to be able to see a human body move and go, that's moving like Tracy Smothers moves.
Yeah.
No one's ever looked at me and gone,
that's our Mark.
That's a Mark move. Marcus Bagwell does one of the worst ever backdrops you'll see here. Weird when you see moves that everybody does really well and easily. You bounce someone off the ropes, you bend over, run into you, and you flip them over, and they land on their backy bag. In this one, it's like it's the hardest thing in the world. And he gets Smothers up, and he's sort of halfway, and then he's heavy, and he pushes him, and Tracy Smothers is sort of trying to kick over. And it's just, I love it when you sort of go, God, yeah, it's a good reminder that wrestling
it's
it
quite
looks
difficult,
easy, really difficult.
Yeah.
I know that's not what Marcus Bagwell is trying to convey. Marcus Bagwell was hoping it would go well.
Yeah, he's not trying to sort of disassemble wrestling for you.
No, and he didn't. He struggled, and I managed to turn that into a positive. So who's the best at wrestling? Bagwell. Brian Pillman here, you can see again, the incentive. He's beginning to really push himself up the card. He's gone from being a quite bland babyface to suddenly this super aggressive, and he's got that Steiner sort of feel to a lot of his matches here where he's just wailing on people, really going flat out. He is good. This slightly bleeds into the interview he gives, which he's actually really good fun with Johnny B. Bad. Really
I enjoyed the tailor-made man's shirt because he only wears it for 1 minute.
Yeah.
And he's got to take it off.
Yeah.
Does he wash that? How often does he watch
I
that?
suppose he puts it on as he's coming to the ring.
Yeah, but
isn't it?
so you would have been doing some work out, so you're probably starting to stink a little bit, aren't you? I'm
Yeah.
just thinking technique-wise.
I should think it stinks. I should just think it stinks. I should imagine in the wrestling room, people go, "Is that your shirt?" You just go, "No," and you point at whatever's near you, and they just go, "Yeah, it probably is that." I think they do have a wardrobe, so I mean, there is still, even though it doesn't look like it, I think
people
there
look
is.
after it.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It is part of the entertainment business, that it. And I think there is backstage things. The Freebirds outfits. I know it's amazing. They don't just appear one day in some woodland and then get brought in. I think there are people oddly making them.
Well, somebody later's wearing these weird. It's kind of like jeans, but then when it gets to the buttocks, it's like snakeskin. It's very confusing. Really, really are kind of like playing with the form in many ways. At this point in this match, it cuts to the crowd, and there's so many granddads with their grandsons, and it's a lovely way of having your life and your relationship with your granddad immortalized.
Really,
I never had a granddad, and I was looking at it, I was like, oh, look, all those granddads with their grandsons.
Isn't it nice?
Watching the wrestling.
Isn't it nice? I mean, it is that funny thing of, no one ever really talks about this, but I think, if you could go back and you'd be able to see you and your granddad.
Yeah.
These people probably don't even know that it's there. They've never even thought of it. And there they are, the two of them just having Oddly, my dad and I, before I went to university, we went to see Frank Skinner, and it was the night they recorded the video.
Yeah.
And my dad laughed so loudly that he's actually in the opening credits. and they picked him because he is roaring. It was a joke, I remember. My girlfriend and I are going to have to get a new washing machine.
Yeah.
And she said to me, listen, Frank, she said, we're going to have to get a new washing machine because we're going to be washing a few nappies soon. Yeah. Turns out her arse muscles are packing up. Right?
They did the little Johnny B. Bad and Brian Pillman interview after this.
Oh, wonderful. Flying Brian just gives like an impassioned speech about the loss of US industry to Japanese companies. Johnny B. Bad is just making kissy faces.
He looks like the Homer Simpson Japanese mascot that they see. Is it Mr. Clean?
Mr. Sparkle.
Mr. Sparkle. Yeah. And he's just at the side going, ha! And Brian Pillman's going, I know people who the Japanese rebate in the automotive industry has cost American jobs. And Johnny B. Bad's just going, wow! Woo! Yeah!
It's brilliant.
Really, really good.
An icon. And then Flying Brian gets angry with Johnny B. Bad because Johnny B. Bad's put a sticker of a kissy face on his cheek, and he knocks him out. And the kids that like Johnny B. Bad sort of lands in front of, horrified, absolutely,
completely. Johnny B. Bad's only just become a good guy, and there is something funny about seeing, especially Johnny B. Bad, who is such a sort of spirit of joy and inclusion. Even though we wouldn't have said that back at the time, but there was something just lovable about him, and that's why he got over even when he was a bad guy. So for Brian Pillman, who's this, everyone's like, oh, I like Brian, just smack him in the face, having just been racist. It's a really, really strange one, man.
I'm bringing that belt back where it belongs, the United States of America. Kiss that.
Vinnie Vegas versus Thomas Rich.
What is happening here with Vinnie Vegas, Mark?
We are seeing the debut of a new talent who has never been in WCW before.
Never been in WCW before. An Italian-American man who seems to be like a Vegas croupier.
How can you tell all that about him? What?
How about it, Vinnie Vegas?
Well, first off, let me tell you something, Big Josh. You pancake-eating fat boy from the Northwest. Let me tell you a little something about the Venster, all right? When most of you was worrying about who you was going to take to the senior prom, I was down on Miami Beach with Johnny Vescuso collecting $253,000 for the Tropicana Hotel.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Look, the name is what someone, again, would put into a Radio 4 drama that had a wrestling character.
Yeah.
They'd go, oh my gosh, so he seemed perfect, but apparently he's a pro wrestler. What does he wrestle as? Vinnie Vegas, can you believe? It's such a fucking... The other thing that is terrible about it is Nash comes out and he's wearing a Smithy's costume. It's a proper 13-pound plastic bag Smithy's costume. And it says on the front, generic croupier greaseball. It's so bad. Now, this is Kevin Nash's own idea.
Oh, is it really? Right. He's into it then. I wonder why he was so into the idea.
Yeah, he has come out of the Oz suit, and I think he's like, I need to do something a bit better. And they've clearly gone, we have nothing better. you were Oz. What more do you want? And so he's come up with this creation.
Right.
And it does seem like he's going, I need to do something to make this work because we've got new people coming in and I have looked very embarrassing recently. And so out he comes. He based it on Steve Martin's character in the film My Blue Heaven.
Okay.
I saw that
it's
years
the last
ago.
thing they see, isn't it, really?
It really
on
is.
A hotel telly.
Also, in 1992, My Blue Heaven, someone's had that on video, and he's watched a video and gone, this is my gimmick, which I like. I like the fact as well that Vinnie Vegas, I mean, it is just a sort of generic, sort of semi-mafioso Vegas man thing. But he needed to see it in a video before you go, I've based it on that. You just go, I just based him on, I mean, it's a bit like going, if you're a postman, you go, well, I saw it all Postino. Yeah, you just dressed as a postman. You here, you're just dressed as a sort of sleazeball. There's not a huge amount of character in it.
Yeah.
Thomas Rich, poor Tommy Rich. Poor Thomas Rich. He is being squashed. He lost to Oz in seconds. Lost to Oz. It's a short match, somehow really bad.
Yeah. His move that he's going to debut is Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes.
And the camera doesn't catch it. And barely. And I think Jim Ross says, I asked him before this match what Snake Eyes is. And he said, just wait. He's not thought about it, has he?
There is no way to describe it either. And it is quite odd because, I mean, at the time I remember thinking, that's not a very good move. Because what it doesn't do is it doesn't take part in the centre of the ring.
No.
As a main eventer, you don't want a move that involves you jostling your opponent into a corner of the ring and then you sort of pin him down there. You want it in the middle. Yeah. So I took against it for aesthetic reasons, to be honest. I didn't think it was a suitable finishing move. That move is still used today.
Oh, is it really?
It's only ever referred to as Snake Eyes. It's most commonly used by the Undertaker. So
interesting.
He's always used it at WrestleMania. He nicked Vinnie Vegas's move. The best thing to do, of course, when you see the Undertaker do it, watching it at home, is when he does it, just say to yourself, who do you think you are, Vinnie Vegas?
Oh, dear.
This would change Nash's life, the Vinnie Vegas gimmick, because Shawn Michaels would be watching WCW one day and he saw that character and he just went, that'd be quite a good bodyguard for me.
Right.
So then they reached out to Kevin Nash and said, would you like to come in to be Shawn Michaels' bodyguard?
Oh, interesting.
And Kevin Nash looked around at WCW. He looked at his work,
his legacy,
his body of work, and he said, I would very much like to leave right now. And out he came. He would end up, of course, having a Hall of Fame run while never really being anyone's favourite.
Yeah, most you WCW ex-football stars was worrying about who you was taking to the pregame college mixer. Yeah, I was organizing wildcat strikes and busting the scabs in the head who had the audacity to break the line. Let me tell you real quick, baby, don't bet against Vinnie Vegas. It's something that could cause your career to end.
Tall drink of water that just came in?
That's Sammy Paradise. Old Two Eyes himself.
Lady Luck, they call her Lady Luck. When she kisses me, I'm in heaven. I'm as lucky as Lucky 7. When she kisses me, I'm in heaven.
Snake Eyes! Snake Eyes? Snake Eyes? Oh!